Hey, what's up, guys? So, in this little video, we're going to talk about what should your podcast be about. All right, now if you don't know what your podcast should be about, it's totally fine. This is just kind of a little, brain training to help you start brainstorming, what you really want. So, we have three bubbles here, okay? We have your unique ability, what you're an expert about, and your bliss, okay? And then somewhere in the middle of all those is what your episodes and what your podcast can be about. So we can change the world, so we can help people, so we can share our message, okay? So your unique ability, it doesn't necessarily have to mean like you're some master at something. It just means what makes you unique. What have you gone through that if you were to start a podcast about that you could really talk about, over and over. And that's the other thing we need to think about when we're looking at this. It's going to be an ongoing conversation, right? So every time a new episode comes out, it's going to be something that's building on top of itself because people really like when they find your podcast. Like, let's just take a step back and like whenever you find a podcast that you really like. I mean, I look at the YouTube videos, I check out their website, I start listening to every episode they have, and it's because it's something that's interesting to me, and they kind of have a certain area that I also appreciate and I like to listen to. So I just dive in and I start listening and I really, binge podcasts. That's what I do. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. But it's an ongoing conversation and a relationship that you're building with your listeners. So if you're just trying to figure out what your podcast should be about, this is what you need to think about. Unique ability, your expertise, and your bliss. Okay. And again, if you're an expert in something, it's important that your message gets out there, and you can just like you don't have to necessarily be the best in the world. They have a lot of conversations where people are afraid of imposter syndrome, but the reality is if you just know a little bit more than the next guy and you keep reading the books and you keep very focused and it's something that you truly have energy about, you're going to become something amazing and it's going to just propel and snowball into something great. So if you're an expert, if you have more experience, if you've been in the military, even long distance relationships, or you've had certain experiences in your life, that's something that you can really start relating to people and having an ongoing conversation with people about. Okay, and then your bliss. What makes you so happy that you just light up? If you can light up on a podcast, other people are going to want to listen to that and they're going to light up too. And you're going to just, cause a lot of light around the world by people hearing what you really love and what you love talking about. Because, I mean, bliss is infectious and so is enthusiasm and energy. So if you can bring that to the table, you are set. So this is just kind of to get your brainstorming if you don't have a topic. If you do have a topic, good. Start thinking about how these could be episodes for you, about how it's something that you have a unique ability about, how it's partially your bliss, how you are an expert and you have something that you can truly give to people that are listening. Because podcasts, it's a lot of give and take, but you're really putting out yourself out there with a lot of emphasis. And we're going to have these podcasts listened by a lot of people. And we're going to come up with a business plan for your podcast so that you can make a lot of money and you can be successful. But it all starts right here with what is your podcast going to be? What is the ongoing conversation? What is your unique ability? What is your expertise? And what is your bliss? And that's what I believe is going to build your podcast, giving it a good foundation and really seeing, this is what I want to do. Your podcast can also be about stories, in which case, or themes, in which case it's going to have these in it as well, except for in a different take because your story is going to build around characters, bliss, expertise, and abilities and things like that. So this is just an idea. Get the ball rolling. I appreciate it. Let's go on to the next.